right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing? George, great day in paradise. How you doing? And I am a carnivore, by the way, and I do believe a carnivore lifestyle is the healthiest thing for all of us. But what I'm working to do is invite all of the plant eaters and all the sort of standard eaters into the community. And I'm working on a new book and a new podcasting. I'm going to give you just a little bit of this of this new podcast that I'm working on, and let's see if I could start this off at the very beginning. Let's see how to get all the way back to the very beginning. Eloise is going to be my new podcaster. So, all right, who do we have here today? We have George. All right, and maybe what I'm going to do is maybe I'll add. Let's invite. Let's do a little invitation here today. Let's see if I can get this to work. Uh, Invite, copy, and I'm going to paste this in the conversation today. And if I can get some that want to join me on this beautiful Sunday, I'm in Sarasota, Florida. It poured last night. It was beautiful sunrise, and then fog set in, and it's all quite beautiful. And again, I hope everyone's doing really radical and amazing. I'm doing very well. I'm on day 4 of fatty meat, salt water, no plants, no sugars, only fatty meat, the Lion's diet. So I'm looking forward to have some really good fun here today. Good afternoon from UK. All right, Isabel, how you doing? Montreal. Let's see. COVID cleaning service. Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Target, Prime Rib, Thomas, how you doing? Sandy Blythe, good morning to the world. So I'm working on this is one of my new books, Christ-Based Teachings, almost done. I'm excited about it. Kiltz, I've learned about many things. Sometimes you just have to do it yourself if you want to get it done. You want to get it done the right Rob way, the Kiltz way. But I'm so grateful. But I've been playing with AI, and I'm having such a blast. All right, Sandy Blythe, Central Florida, April, Lucy, to get a hold of anyone at Seeing My Fertility. April, text Kiltzy, 315-416-9872. And I put my text in there. You can text me, and I will help make it happen. Yes, absolutely. Bev, how you doing? Let's see. Catherine, Oxidine. Awesome. Good morning from Oldsmar, Florida. Nice. Again, I put in a little bit of a link there. Oh, we got George. George, I wasn't keeping an eye on the right spot. How you doing, my brother?
Don't worry, Doctor. I've only been here a couple of minutes at the very most, so it's nice to see you again, as always. I thought I'd take up your invitation. I'm sure somebody else will. I see Rick's in the chat, so he might turn up in a minute, and I'm sure if Papa Carnival drops in, he will do as well. But I thought I'd come and keep you company for now.
Rick, it is nice to have company for sure, and that's why I love the carnivore community. It was great to have Zane Griggs on the other morning. But I don't want my carnivore family to think that I've given up the carnivore way. But I want to invite others into the world. But it's interesting, and maybe you can comment on this. I feel better when I eat carbohydrates. Is that pathologic or physiologic?
That's a very good question. Pathological versus physiological. All I know is that since I transitioned from being a standard American diet, eating pizza, pasta, rice, all that sort of thing, and I transitioned through low carb, then keto, to ultimately being fiber free. I still do consume carbohydrates in liquid form, in the form of coffee, creamer, that sort of thing. So I'm probably up to 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. But the fact that I am fiber free has made me feel so much better. Just for full disclosure, I am doing a version of the Lion diet this January. I'm doing ruminant meat only with salt, but I am including the coffee as well, because that would be one step too far for me. But no, carbohydrates, I believe, are not good for us. However, at the moment, the recommendations is that we consume 50 to 65% of our energy every day in carbohydrate, and that is wrong. That is fundamentally wrong. I'm a firm believer that anything below 130 grams of carbohydrates a day, and you will improve your health. Obviously, the closer to zero you get, the better. So carnivore is ultimately the ultimate elimination diet. And then on top of that, the Lion diet is the ultimate elimination diet. Now, I was upset by the interview on Friday, I must admit. It was when your guest actually said that glucagon is a stress hormone because it triggers gluconeogenesis, which is the body finds hard work. Well, gluconeogenesis was around a long time before the other sugars were. So the body, how can it be bad for the body when it is as old as the human body? So at that point, I was very tempted to put something in chat, but I decided just to keep quiet and step away. But I found it difficult, that interview on Friday. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Dr. Kiltz.
I felt it, by the way, and I knew it. And again, I want to apologize to everyone. That wasn't my intention, but it brings up a lot of our conversations, right? And my new book that I'm working on right now is the big, the fat truth, the fat truth, and ultimately we've got all our science. I call it scientism. It's basically created to make us believe one thing and not understand the truth and reality. I was playing with I'm playing with AI and now with video making through text generation, and I really love it. And I was trying to figure out how to get. I got to get these other things that I've been working on, so I can share them with you guys. This might be good. Let me see if I can get it. Is ultimately all science is really a marketing manifestation that really we can't trust any of it. And so ultimately, a animal-based focused diet is healthier than a plant-based focused diet. Let me see if I can get this. I guess this I can get.
Yeah, just one comment on that. What you said, I have read some. I can't remember who the quote was from, but there was one so-called scientist who actually said we own the science because they'd actually paid for it and got the outcome that they wanted. Nobody can own the science. Science is just a fact of life. And this word scientism, which you've recently discovered, I had to look up myself. And it's basically that unless something is proved by some study, then it can't exist. There is no room for philosophy or anecdotal evidence such as we produce, unless it is actually backed up by some sort of ridiculous paid-for study. So yeah, I totally agree. Scientism is a very dangerous thing. Science exists, but it also exists alongside ideology and basically anecdotal evidence, N equals 1. So yeah, I totally agree. Scientism is a very, very dangerous thing. So yeah, thanks for flagging that one up, Dr. Kiltz. I had to look it up. It was a word I'd never heard of before, and I had to look it up and to understand it. So, but I have a better understanding of it now. So thank you for that.
Live right now. Can I call you back? I'll call you back. All right, bye. Well, it is again. If you try to publish, like if you take a scientific article and then you actually present it at a conference without asking permission, you are infringing on a patent and or a copyright. And truly science is bought and paid for and owned. It's proprietary. And so you have no right to utilize it in your common day speech without asking for permission. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but I understand the words "we own the science." So yeah, so how can anybody own science? Because science is simply the uncovering of truth. It should be, and truth is universal. But as we often say on here, It's not the BMJ. It's not the scientific studies that are going to change the thinking of the world. It's the stories. It's our stories, the N=1 experiments, the anecdotes. And we are the living, walking proof. We are the science as much as anybody else. But because you have not bought and paid for my story. You have not bought and paid for Rick's story, even though Rick has no story of recovery because he was intelligent enough to go very, very young into the carnivore world. But you have not bought and paid for Thomas's story, Target Prime Rib. You've not bought and paid for Amy Perrin's story, the type 1 diabetic. You haven't bought and paid for Diane Ladd's MS story. So apparently, according to scientism, because you have not bought and paid for us, we don't exist within the realms of science. So it's wrong. It's fundamentally wrong, Dr. Kiltz. I totally agree with you.
Well, I feel better smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, sodas, and pizza, pasta, bread every day. I feel better in the moment, right?
Yes.
And so that's a little bit of the conundrum when people say, well, I feel better when I eat the carbs. Well, it's a true statement because it's a drug. And 2 weeks of carnivore is not enough anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is that you've, as an endocrinologist, and you've taught us, I understand far more about hormones now. I might be wrong in suggesting that dopamine is a hormone, but I know that dopamine receptors are very important, and that dopamine gives you that short-term rush versus serotonin, which gives you the long-term feeling of contentment. I feel on carnivore, I no longer get the dopamine hit. Well, in fact, I do get dopamine hits, but it's from doing things like this. This is the short-term feel-good. But I feel that my serotonin, my long-term contentment, my long-term happiness is serviced by carnivore, whereas my short-term dopamine hits used to be alcohol, big one for me. As you know, I'm a reformed alcoholic. It used to be the candy bars, the immediate sugar rush, especially growing up as a child. And then in more recent years, I used to love quattro stagioni pizza, for example. And I used to love chili con carne. I used to love spaghetti bolognese. Short-term hits for long-term suffering. And ultimately, when I reached 293 pounds, was totally immobile and had type 2 diabetes, I was miserable, really miserable. Now, over 3.5 years on, I am back to myself. I'm back to the young, fairly athletic. I can't run anymore because of my knees, but I did a 6-mile walk on New Year's Eve, which was filmed by a fellow carnivore, a lovely lady called Ziggy from very near me. And it was fabulous. We actually went out deliberately, Dr. Kiltz, before the sunrise. Why? So that we could see the sunrise, so that we could be grateful for another day when we were alive. And we felt really alive doing that, and that is the serotonin being serviced, not the dopamine, which I might have got if I'd had a candy bar or some hash browns for breakfast. Going for a walk in the sunrise with a carnivore friend was far better for my mental health than eating carbohydrates, believe me.
Rick, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. I'm usually working or doing something else on Sunday morning, but I'm here.
What year are those encyclopedias behind you?
Or is 1960? Let me see.
Is that what is it? The what was it? What was the Britannica, or what's the other one? World Funkin' Wagnalls. All right, yep. Standard.
I also have World Book, Britannica. I have several encyclopedias. I never threw them away. Let me see. What is the date? I think it's in the 60s. Here it is.
That's how I lived in learning through World Book encyclopedias. Yeah, it's like the last published in 63. All the knowledge in the world between 59 and 63 in those encyclopedias. It's kind of crazy, right? Do we need, when we use the word carbohydrate, we're really talking about plants, because animals don't eat carbohydrates or protein. They eat animals, or they eat plants, or maybe they eat the slop of a microbe or crickets, but they're not eating protein, fat, or sugars. They're just eating what nature makes, and nature makes the complex plants, the complex animals. And so, this idea of science is really messed us up. Maybe it was with Edith White in the Seventh-day Adventists and Kellogg's and creating the nutritional institutes of the world to tell the masses that we should be eating a plant protein, low fat diet.
But wasn't it their intention to try to reduce the sex drive and the immoral thoughts? And they were blaming it on meat. But I'm living proof that meat does not cause immoral thoughts or sex drive.
Well, it ultimately is they're trying to sort of change human nature. Like it's pathologic to have desires of sex ever, right?
No, it's not pathologic.
They're trying to base, and that's probably part of the problem of the world. We're consuming a plant-based diet which contains birth control pills, antipsychotics, which turn out to be autistic and schizophrenic and depressive drugs anyway. And I was reading an article about an organization that deprescribes mental health medications. And I'm just wondering if they're working in cahoots with the prescription companies.
Could be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
money runs everything.
Yeah. I had a thought the other day, Dr. Kiltz, about sex drive. And I actually just wondered to myself, I wonder how many acts of copulation between two human beings has ended up with me being on this planet. Because without one single one of those acts, I wouldn't be here today, which makes it kind of think a bit. And also, yeah, Rick's absolutely right. It was Ellen Gould White, who was the prophetess of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, who decided through visitation from God that red meat drove lust and self-abuse. Therefore, she decided that it was a bad thing. And of course, Kellogg was her typesetter at the age of 12 for her book. So he read all her books. And it was he that then took on the work at Battle Creek Sanitarium, invented the Kellogg's cornflakes, and decided that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. But the reason that he actually invented cornflakes was not to make our liver healthy. It wasn't to make our bodies healthy. It was to make our minds healthy, because it was supposed to suppress our sex drive, which means that we wouldn't want to commit these acts of copulation. And so basically Kellogg's was anti-human almost in many ways.
Right. Propagation of the species needs to be ceased. And exactly, we will control the message. That's it.
Precisely right.
I don't think Zane takes performing enhanced drugs, but remember, Zane is a bodybuilder and a fitness coach also. So his message is lean is good. When in fact, if there's a winter famine and you're skinny, is not good.
I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble if being skinny is not good.
Well, but again, in an environment where you already know how to hunt and gather your food, and my bet is you still have enough fat to get you probably for 2 to 4 weeks without any food.
I have 15% fat.
Go ahead.
I don't measure my fat at all, but I will. Talking about being a fitness coach and instructor and use of carbohydrates for explosive power, I'd like to recall our friend Duncan Smart, my friend from the UK, who is an international triathlete. Dr. Kiltz, you interviewed him about 2 weeks
great
ago.
Guy.
And he found that when he switched from carb loading to carnivore, immediately his stamina improved, but he lost explosive power. However, he did find that loss of explosive power actually lasted the whole 2 years, but he did persevere with carnivore, and eventually that explosive power came back even better. So yeah, I can kind of understand these carbohydrate load coaches who want to keep that explosive power, but it's a lack of patience, isn't it? It's, as Duncan has proved, if you are patient and you are consistent, then you can improve even better on the carb loading. Look at Tim Noakes. Tim Noakes was a carb loader, a very good marathon runner, Professor Tim Noakes, who got type 2 diabetes. He had to retract a whole chapter of his book on carbohydrate loading and make an apology for it. What an admirable thing to do, because he, as a professor, had to admit he was wrong and he had to put it right. But many people are so invested in their establishment qualifications that even if they know they're wrong, they're not prepared to do it because it makes them stand out from the crowd. Professor Tim Noakes did it, and look at him. He's a man I admire.
Well, I think because the majority of the world is a plant-based world, to fit into that world. And again, I feel better when I have my coffee or when I maybe have a little bit of sugar, because it's a feel-good drug. And ultimately we're in the world of feel good. Yeah. And ultimately doing hard things like staying carnivore for 50 years, Rick?
42
years. And transitioning to a primarily animal-based diet and eating less frequently rather than eating, constantly grazing animal. That's hard to do.
Not for everybody.
Yeah, Kitchen, which my husband was strict carnivore for 1 year, believes long-term ketosis causes heart palpitations. My bet is that whatever years of being on a standard diet probably affected his problems with palpitations. But the other problem is we live in a world where we breathe, drink, and eat, and live in an environment that has toxins that could damage our hearts also.
However, does the fact that you're on the carnivore diet really mean you're in ketosis? Every time I've checked my ketone levels, they were low. I don't think I'm in ketosis all the time, and I'm carnivore.
I think there's an initial rise in ketones, just like a rise in glucagon, but then it simmers down because they realize, wait a minute, we're no longer in the fight or flight world. We're now in the lion's world, and we have the strength that we don't need to be measuring anything or worried about this or that. I mean, ultimately, we're all going to be fertilizer or food for something else. How and when we get there, we have not been able to prove that one bit in science or medicine.
Yeah. Talking of things going up and down, Dr. Kiltz, let's talk about a low-density lipoprotein, wrongly known as cholesterol. Now, when I was healing, when I discovered how to heal, so my second successful blood test after going low carb revealed that I had LDL of about, 7.1 in the UK, which I believe is about 280 in your terms. Now, the following tests I had, which was a year on from that, I was expecting my LDL to have risen again because I was, more and more carnivore. However, what actually happened is it dropped down to about 215 or 210 or thereabouts. Now, I believe that basically because I was so ill, my body needed to create more LDL to deliver the cholesterol to my cells so that they can rebuild. But once my body had healed, then the liver dialed back on producing LDL because it wasn't necessary anymore. We didn't need as much going out of the liver to be delivered to cells because my cells were perfectly happy and healthy. Do you have any feeling on that?
Well, okay. So the liver's job is to make VLDL and make fat.
Yeah.
And then store it in the liver and then ship it around the body so that every cell has the fuel, the building blocks, the minerals and vitamins. Now, in a fasted state, prolonged fasting, empty gut, no food in the gut, the liver and the gut is not delivering much of anything. It's all coming from your adipocytes. You see, there's always a constant flow from the adipocytes to every cell of the body. So exactly where you're at in your digestion, diet, or what you've eaten, or the state of your body is kind of a mystery because we don't have anyone in a lab attached to all of the markers, and we're feeding you when we want, we're fasting you when you want, and then we're measuring these things either over 10 days of no food or 5 minutes of no food. And so it's really a little bit of a mystery as to why some people go into ketosis faster and stay it longer, or LDLs and VLDLs and all these things are just all over the place. Now, if you measured these things every hour on the hour for the next year and then correlated with exactly what you drank and eat, then we might be able to really have a confident conversation. But I don't think we can. I mean, is VLDL the cause of any disease, or is HDL the cause of any disease?
No.
Not one bit.
No.
No.
SDLDL is small damage.
Well, no. Well, but
you don't think so?
damaged LDL isn't LDL's fault.
No,
It's what
exactly.
you
Sorry,
breathed, drank, or ate in the frequency, the amount, or the pathologic environment we live in. So ultimately, we're giving you a drug to lower something when in fact inflammation is the cause, and inflammation is helped by fatty meat, fasting, and I always say faith in God.
Absolutely. Mindset. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mindset is so powerful. So these are important things that.
Just a word for our audience. My understanding is that basically LDL can be damaged by glycation and oxidation. So when we eat lots of carbohydrates, the glycation damages the LDL, and also oxidation, breathing in the wrong sort of thing as well, also causes small damaged LDL. Now, small damaged LDL cannot get back to the liver for recycling, so it gets stuck on the artery walls. That is my understanding.
Well, I don't believe all of it, because the blood is circulating through every organ system of the body continuously, right? And ultimately, I kind of look at it a little like, I'm going to show you this other video I made. Okay, so now the faucet is the input into the liver, and the liver can only do so much before everything bypasses the liver and spills to every organ system of the body. Or this could be the adipose tissue, which does the same thing essentially. And so basically by fasting, we turn the faucet off, we allow the liver and the adipocytes to just do what they normally do, which is provide the fuel and the building blocks for every cell of the body. I mean, the lymphatics essentially come from the adipocytes. And so the lymph tissue is always sending fatty acids back to the circulation, which must go through the liver also. So I think, again, this metabolic nutritional science and all the Randall cycles, the glucose cycles, the gluconeogenesis cycles are all bullshit.
Yeah. Obviously, the word I like is autophagy. Fasting puts us into autophagy, which is basically when the digestive system is not overloaded anymore. So the body is able to go around cleaning up all the damaged cells. Now, I liken it to in a 52-week year, a factory produces, but in the summer it shuts down for 2 weeks so that the maintenance team can go in and clean it, repair the machines, and get ready for the next cycle of production. I always think of the body as maybe a bit like that. When we put ourselves into autophagy, then the body can actually carry out maintenance on itself. Also, phagy, self-eating.
Well, but you're always, so you see, our problem is you must breathe, drink, and eat.
Yeah.
You can't live without that. Okay. So every time you breathe, drink, and eat, you're bringing macromolecules into the body, which then must be either digested or eliminated in some way because they're pathologic. Okay. And so autophagy never stops, but the amount of glycation and oxidation is going up and down. So when you're fasting for long periods of time, autophagy is always here. Yeah. But now the poisons are down here. Okay. Now you're eating a whole bunch, and again, there's poisons. There's some poisonous products that come from eating and digesting and breathing and drinking that are up here now. And so autophagy is always working to do the work, but now you've caused more damage. Okay, now it has to continue to do more. It might take more time to do the work, but autophagy is always happening. But right. It's just a matter of how high or low the digestible, more poisonous or less poisonous air, liquids, or food that we consume. if that makes
Yeah,
any
so
sense.
it does. Yeah, so autophagy is consistent, but if we follow the dietary guidelines and eat 3 meals and 6 snacks a day, then basically the toxins are up there. Whereas if we fast, then the toxins are down there, which means that autophagy remains consistent, but is more efficient when we are in a fasted state. Would you say that would be the case?
100%. That's why fasting is one of those. I don't care what dietary habits you have. By fasting more than 24, 40, to more than 70, more than 3 days, it takes at least 3 days to empty the gut in general. A high plant-based diet, it might empty the small intestine, but it fills the colon, which is the fermentable foundation going on within our bodies.
Yeah, just a word on fasting. I understand that your longest fast was 15 days. We have the wonderful Carnival Jerry out there who is heading towards 40 days.
40 days.
For myself, I'll be full disclosure. My longest ever fast is 60 hours from 7 p.m. on Sunday until 7 a.m. on Wednesday. But I did feel the benefits of it. And I do fast for 36 hours on a regular basis. However, I haven't ever attempted the long fast. And I've never attempted the dry fast either. I know that you have a couple of friends out there, Lauren Tucker and Stephanie Taylor, who follow the guy, and I can't remember his name now, who wrote the book, begins with A. Surname begins with A, I think.
August, the Phoenix Protocol.
That's the one, the Phoenix Protocol. Yeah, August something, that's right. And I know that Stephanie and Lauren have both had felt a lot better on doing long dry fasts as well. So if anybody's in the chat has got any comments about whether they like to tell us what their longest fast is, have they tried dry fasting? That would be, have they got any questions? That would be good.
I think that'd be really fantastic. I mean, just think about it. I mean, go out into the desert. All right. You're not bringing a canteen, and you're going out to the desert where ultimately there is little to no water, right? I'm just clicking down on some of these and see what I can find. Tulare, Becky, and Michael, and here we got one. When the fat leaves us as we age, it makes water hotter and colder and weather temps more severe. We need some fat to stay under our skin for insulation purposes. Again, a zero fat human being, look at what a zero fat human being looks like. They're actually a cadaver.
Yeah, you interviewed that wonderful lady the other day. I haven't had a chance to actually see it yet, but the thumbnail of her originally, it was frightening to see that, and it's not a desirable state, is it?
Well, ultimately, we know that a very anorexic, cachectic, sarcopenic human being that's been in a concentration camp of the wars that the worlds have created for thousands or millions of years is not healthy. And I always think about Karen Carpenter, who died suddenly from anorexia. And ultimately, our fear of fat, both eating it and carrying it, is our single biggest pathologic directive.
Yeah.
Fat causes disease, and if you're obese, you're unhealthy, which is not true. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great job. We appreciate everyone listening and learning and adding to the chat. Kiltz doesn't have the gift again today because I don't know how to set it up, but I did learn the other day, but you have to do it before you do it or before you sign off, but that's okay. My Sundays is the gift enough.
Hey, Dr. Kiltz, I actually learned a new trick from Barbara, Grandma's Crochet Corner today, because I'm now a moderator on her channel, and she said you can post a link on here, George. So I actually had to go, and I went back into YouTube, and I discovered how to copy a link and post it into chat today. So I learned a new skill today, Dr. Kiltz. So I'm quite proud of myself for that one.
So like I can do that, and that's why I'm kind of like I'm having fun with my new video, my video stuff, like doing these sort of things, or my lion stuff, which ultimately is a ton of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But is it Is it critical? You know, we got to have fun out of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, are we sheep or are we lions?
We're lions. Of course we're lions. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here if we weren't.
Well,
now, it's
right,
interesting. What is interesting to me, Dr. Kiltz, is the fact that I know my brother, are 9.5 years, virtually exactly older than me. I'm 60. You're going to be 70 in March. Now, it's both of us struggle a little bit with the technology side of things. But if we just go back 10 years or just over 10 years, we find Lewis and Amy, and they are the technical geniuses.
Oh my God, yes.
So that 10 years in between us and them, or the 20 years, that was filled in because when I was at school, there was one computer in the school. That was down in the science lab, and it was for geeks only. And everybody laughed, but I bet the chap who spent a lot of time down there isn't, he's the one who's laughing now. I never took computers seriously until fairly recently. And I feel I'm way behind, and it shows because basically you and I are struggling to get the technology right. So we had to rely on a young lady in her 40s, Alia, and Amy and Lewis to get it right for us. So all fair play to them, but there is a generational gap there, I feel. So anyway,
well, I've been working on. I don't know if you can hear this.
Nothing coming through at the moment, Dr. Kiltz.
What's that?
I can't hear anything. Are you playing something? No. Rick, could you hear it? No.
No, I cannot.
No.
Huh. I wonder why. That's weird that, but I'm working on all my AI stuff, which I'm like, okay, this is remarkable what we're able to do. And I don't take it as a sort of like, oh boy, you better never do this. It's they tell you better never do this because they don't want you to have the knowledge or capability of building and growing without the master, right? So that's oh, this is really bad. The masters are going to be against it, but the masters are going to create it in a way. And so the truth is, we have the ability. I mean, that World Book Encyclopedia is now at everyone's fingertips on these devices. Isn't that magical?
It is.
I mean,
I'm actually studying a YouTube site called Deep Work at the moment, which is not about carnivore, but it is about self-taught men and why the elite, those who've invested in PhDs, in certificates, in education, why they fear us so much. Because basically we are not constrained by the script. They, in order to protect their comfortable livings, they have to protect the learning that they've had to get that PhD, to get that professorship, to become a doctor. So therefore, they've invested a lot of time in the establishment. Whereas as self-taught individuals, we've invested time, but we've invested no money, and we're not necessarily dependent upon our livelihoods for this piece of paper. Therefore, we are in a much better position to challenge. They hate us. They truly hate us, and they fear us. And carnivore is a classic example of being self-taught, which is why they attempt to push back all the time, because they can see the danger that we represent to the establishment. So yeah, deep work. If anybody wants to go out and have a look at it, I would suggest it. They're about 15 minutes long each, and it's about the self-taught human being versus the establishment.
You know what would really scare these people at the top is if everybody in the world was like me. If everybody was like me, they would be in big trouble.
Well,
I totally agree.
That is true, Rick. And our world of consumerism obviously is and believing in all this investment in even retirement, right? This idea that I'm going to put all my money in Bitcoin. I mean, it's another deep fake.
Retirement is death.
I agree with you. It's deadly for all of us. I think even measuring your ketones and glucose. How often do you measure those things, Rick?
Never. I haven't measured it. The last time I was measured was at Hack Your Health, and it had been a couple of years before that.
I mean, I could even tell you about measuring CAC score and CT angiograms. Like, it's suddenly you're now in this world of like, oh my God. Well, now I'm like, Okay, forget that shit.
You know, what I measure, how much can I do? Can I do less than I did before, more, or the same? And so far, I'm doing the exact same amount as I did when I was 25, except I have more experience. So I have more success now. When I was 25 and I would work on something, I wouldn't get it the first time. But as I've done it more and more and more, I can look at a piece of equipment. I can look at a piece of technology. My audio interface broke down. Somebody sent me a schematic and I figured it out. My experience plus being physically healthy has made me a better person at 57 than when I was 25.
And I think, you know, it's I just want to be enough. Well, I guess we all are really enough, and that's part of our problem, thinking we need to be different than we are. Right? Maybe we're all perfect as we're meant to be, even our suffering. It happens for a reason.
Coach Stephen Thomas is quite good on this because he, even though he's a phlebotomist and measures, he says that he has people come to him who were perfectly happy, went and got some blood tests, and they came back wrong according to the establishment, and they've gone to him in a state of anxiety.
Yes.
And he says to them, well, how do you actually feel? Oh, I'm great, but my bloods are wrong according to my doctor. And he says, if you feel good, why are you worried about worried about your results?
My brother Ray, who's 78-ish, he went to his doctor, and his doctor, you know, looked at him, talked to him for 5 minutes, say, see you later, Ray. And then Ray says, well, wait a minute, doc. How come you're not looking in my ears or measuring all these things for me? Well, Ray, because most people come in unhappy and in pain and they need a pill or something like that. You just come in happy as can be, and you don't need anything else. And that's it.
Exactly.
And then the guy sold his practice, and Ray stopped going to doctors in and of itself because he realized that, you know, getting up and out and going swimming in the ocean with the sharks and the porpoises and the seals is all he needs.
Well, I'm consulting doctors reference my inguinal hernia at the moment, Dr. Kiltz. I know some of you understand, because that's going to end in surgery. And I do trust doctors when it comes to surgery, but I'm very proud to say that no doctor has spoken to me about metabolic health in the last 3.5 years. Why? Because when they prescribed me with metformin and statins, a very kind nurse told me that all carbs are sugar. So I went home, did the research, threw away the prescriptions for metformin and statins and never cashed them in. And I followed the nurse's advice, cut out the carbs, healed myself. Now, the doctors just won't talk to me. Why? Because I have cost them money, because I am no longer a customer. I am a patient cured, therefore I'm a customer lost. No doctor has spoken to me about, nurses have congratulated me on being a former type 2 diabetic, but no doctor has called me into their office and said, congratulations on reversing your type 2 diabetes, because it goes against what they've been taught. Again, they're waving around the medical certificate. They don't want to acknowledge me because I'm a danger to them. Because if people follow my course, they can no longer sell the drugs. As Dr. Tony Hampton says, I used to be a dealer. I am now a healer.
That's right.
They need to remain dealers to make their money.
Well, and I think with Dr. Hampton and many others, most doctors don't even understand the story we're telling. They're so entrenched in their old propaganda way that they've been taught it's a pill, a surgery, or a shot, and that's all they really follow, unfortunately. And our job, my job in the standard medical field, is to write the books and share the stories and create the blogs and ideas that more and more people can listen and learn from. That's what exactly. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Dr. Kiltz, you're always thinking you're thinking outside the box. And what you've done recently is you have really rattled a few cages out there by saying that you added salmon back in and that you want to be more inclusive. Some certain people have really jumped on the bandwagon and said, Dr. Kiltz says it's okay to eat carbs again. Dr. Kiltz has given up the carnivore. They've taken a couple of words of yours and they've really, you know, they've over dramatized it, and you know, and there is a certain sort of element of people out there within the community saying Kiltz is no longer carnivore. We can't watch him anymore. But we've just got to make it clear that, that I'm a believer that, carnivore is the best, but therapeutic carbohydrate restriction, that is the key to health. And as I said, if you get to 130 or below every day, you are going to start benefiting from it. Let's encourage people to get down to below 20 a day, definitely.
Yeah.
But in order to get those people down to low 20, let's let them in at the 130 gram level, which is where I started.
I don't think everybody should be carnivore. I don't think they need to be carnivore. That's where I differ from most people. That's why I'm not popular.
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. So expand on that, Rick. Hand in your carnivore.
I'm sorry.
On the way out.
Well, what do you mean by that statement, Rick?
There are a lot of people that do really well on a mixed macro diet. I've had friends like that. I know people that have lived their entire life. They eat plenty of plants and they live a long, healthy life. I know someone that lived over 90, never had a health problem in his life, and he just died in his sleep. It happens all the time. But what I try to tell people, if it's not working for you, this is the thing. If what you're doing is working for you, what is the problem? There is no problem. Go ahead and do it. If you can thrive on that diet, I say more power to you. But when you're sick and you have these problems, you complain about gaining weight, you complain about aches and pains, and you're not even willing to try the carnivore diet. And I don't mean try it for 2 weeks. I mean try it for months. It's at least 6 months. It's like my friend that was an ex-vegan. He tried it for 6 months. It failed. The carnivore diet did not work for him. So he switched to a 50% meat-based diet with some whole plants, and it worked perfectly. So I don't think everyone, I mean, if you were raised a vegetarian or vegan, it may be a shock to become a carnivore. So I tell people, you don't really need to do that. Oh, I need to carnivore harder. Well, maybe you need to transition to the carnivore diet. And then you can add in some of the plants, but then you go telling people that are addicted, like George says he's addicted. I know Mitch says he's addicted. And I know people that are addicted to carbohydrates. They can't go one day without those stupid snacks, the bags that go crunch, crunch, crunch all the time. It drives me crazy because I don't like that stuff. I call it duck food and I laugh at it and drinking the sodas. And then people go out there and say, well, you can eat 200 grams of carbohydrates a day. Well, what is 200 grams of carbohydrates a day? It's like a license to eat whatever you want. Okay, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. And then, I don't feel good. Well, you've gone off plan. Oh, it didn't work. Ugh, it drives me crazy.
Well, because, I agree with you that many people, my grandmother lived to 104, smoked Pall Malls, drank Manhattans, and Italian Mediterranean dieter, eater. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, we don't know that a strict carnivore diet means you're going to live any longer or without any diseases anyway. But for many of us that feel better on a animal-centric diet with minimal plants, less frequently, that's the thing that I found is one of the best things. And so what you're in, a lot of what I'm doing here is I want to be inclusive, invite everyone to the conversation so they can listen and learn about the subtleties about what might be the problem. I talked to some friends yesterday. One of them was on Humira for arthritis. And the idea of changing the diet to get off Humira is just like, no, I'd just rather take Humira and live my life with that. Oh, and it doesn't cost her anything because insurance pays for it.
These people are cowardly.
Yeah, true. Dr. Kiltz, can I tell the story of my father who died 1 month after his 94th birthday? He lived a very metabolically healthy life up until the 2 months before his 94th birthday when he succumbed to pneumonia. The doctor said, you're going to have to stay in here for a long time. He said, I'd rather go and die at home than stay in this hospital for one more night. He came home, lasted 3 months and died, but he died on his own terms. But he was walking and carrying out an active lifestyle right up until when he got pneumonia. Now, his lifestyle, he was a great believer in everything in moderation. I hate those terms, but he was a scientist. So he worked in a laboratory, but he brought us up on what you guys call a homestead. I call a small holding. And his hobby was going out and digging stuff, planting stuff, growing stuff. We had chickens and everything like that. So we had a typical homestead. So he was very active. He never ran a step. He believed that wasn't a natural thing for a human being to do, but he used to love going for long walks. I mean, he and I did some long 3-day trails together here in the UK. So he believed in walking, and especially walking uphill. He believed in digging as being very good exercise, and he believed in eating whole food. So his classic main meal of the day would be a meat with a potato dish and 2 vegetables. But those vegetables were invariably grown at home. So Rick's right. My father had a classic mixed diet. He did, and he lived to 94 as a very healthy metabolically person. Now, he was a scientist, and he fell for Dennis Burkitt's fiber. So he believed in what he called roughage. So he switched from white bread to brown bread. And he also believed in the heart healthy oils. So he switched from butter to margarine. If he hadn't done that, maybe he'd have lived to 104. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that he was able to live a long and happy, metabolically healthy life just by being sensible, I suppose you might say. And he was certainly very anti-sugar, as in refined sugar, very the sweetened thing. So that's just the story of my father.
The thing is, the point that I want to make is that a lot of people that live those lifestyles, they are not really opposed to us. Our enemy is the system, the food system, with the ultra-processed crap, the medications and all these other things. The people that are the homesteaders, the people that raise fruits and vegetables and all these things, we can work with them because animal agriculture and plant agriculture, they go together like this. So I would rather have a community that includes the plant eaters along with the meat eaters and excludes the big pharma, the big agriculture, all that monoculture with all the pesticides and all these things. I would rather have the so-called organic farmers along with the, I don't know what you call them, pasture raised or whatever animals they're raising to work together, because all of us are actually opposed to the system, the big money debt-based system that keeps everybody in control. Every one of these people that independently grows their own food or sources their own food is actually fighting this system. And that's why I like Dr. Kiltz so much, because first of all, I think he's the longest term doctor, 15 years on the carnivore diet, and he brings everyone in. He doesn't belittle anybody. He asks him a question. He reminds me of Jesus when he goes to give counsel. You know how Jesus wouldn't tell him? Well, he told the Pharisees they were offspring of vipers, but anybody else that asked him a question, he would ask them a question in return. That way it makes them think. And that's what I really like about this, because we're not trying to trash anybody. We're not over there calling people names. Oh, you're an idiot. Oh, this is wrong. We're just asking a question. Well, do you think maybe this could be the case, or maybe that could be the case? And that's what drawed me into this community. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, Dr. Kiltz, I don't exactly hang on every word, but I do listen to what you say. And one of my favorite sayings that you have is significance and frequency. Now, you make no secret of the fact that occasionally you will have some French fries fried in tallow, but without any significance or frequency. Unfortunately, the people who would talk against you don't say that. They just say, "Oh, Dr. Kiltz eats potatoes now." And that's it. But they don't say, but he doesn't do it with any significance or frequency. So I love that saying, significance or frequency, because it shows that you're okay on it, but you don't eat a significant amount or with any frequency. And have I just offended Dr. Kiltz because he's run away?
Oh, it's probably a tech issue. He'll be back. It's like my diet. I came up with the heart attack diet, which was basically you avoid raw leaves, stems, roots, and especially seeds. And that's what I've always done. I avoid all those things. I would never eat a potato because it's a root and I see them as toxic. However, if I'm going to make French fries, you know what I'm going to make them out of?
Tallow would.
Yeah, but what plant material would I use if I'm not going to use a potato?
Duck skin.
And well, that's the chips. No, it would be a plantain, because potatoes are not something I have around here. Plantains, they grow out in my yard. I could cut one at any time. So whenever my friends ask for fries, that's what I make them out of. And they're always fried in beef tallow. I eat some of them, but the thing is, I don't crave carbohydrates. I can eat a little bit and I lose interest very quickly. But if you give me a lot of meat, you send me like in the Brazilian steakhouse, I eat and eat and eat and eat, and I can't stop. The meat is the thing that I'm attracted to. That would be my addiction, would be meat, eggs, and animal products. But the plant material, I consider that survival food.
Okay, Rick, I'm going to ask you the question that Dr. Kiltz might do. Do you consume plantains with any significance or frequency?
I probably have them 3 times a year, if that.
There we go. Neither significant nor frequent. So, yeah, Dr. Kiltz, I was just saying before you ran away, I thought I'd offended you. I love that saying. what is the significance? What is the frequency?
Yeah, I mean, and we live in a world of dangerous things. We mitigate them, and we're not probably jumping out of the plane, with the parachute every day, because that increases your risk the more you do something, right? And
my favorite saying is that we live with fellow human beings, and certainly in my household, about once a week, I think I put my life in danger. Lainey can, everybody knows that myself and Lainey are both carnivores, but about once a week, I feel that I've overstepped the mark on something, and the steak knife might be used for something else other than eating her steak. However,
you can't live with them, you can't live without them.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, my computer shut down. No, just went bing. But I'm back on my other computer.
Okay, as long as just for a second, it was the Rick and George show there.
That's all good. See, guys. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. Again, we're sharing a story. So, when people come to me and they're infertile, and I help them understand. Well, if you were fertile normally, you wouldn't be seeing me. So there must be some sickness or inflammation going on in your bodies, male and female, by the way, that contributes to your problem. So arthritis, psoriasis, hernias, and I see the conversation. I think you're right. The fermentation and the high fiber, fixed our colon to barely let anything out and became very bloated with gas and increased our pressure. I'm hoping I don't need a fourth surgery. We'll see.
I have one. I've never gotten fixed. I just don't have any medical care. I got in a car accident, a bad one. That's what caused the hernia. I don't even think about it, though. It's just once in a while I have to push it back in. It doesn't even hurt. It's weird.
If you think about it, easy access to these treatments make us utilize them more frequently. But if they never existed, you would live like it was just normal to have these things.
Yeah. That's right. It's like I haven't been to a dentist since 1986. I still have teeth.
Rick, I've been going to the dentist for 30 years, no cavities. But before that, for whatever reason, now carnivore 15 years, like even better. But the one thing that happened when I went carnivore, I stopped bleeding gums. That was never a big difference for me.
I've never had that.
Can I talk about my dental experiences? I used to be at a dentist all the time with gingivitis. I used to get ulcers and bleeding gums, and I used to have to take metronidazole as a very strong antibiotic. I then went carnivore, and I kept on booking my dental appointments, but my dentist was so metabolically unhealthy herself that she cancelled on me 3 times. I've given up. And do you know what I found since I've given up going to see her? Absolutely no dental health problems whatsoever. No gingivitis, no bleeding gums, nothing. So I don't go, but I do have private insurance, and I keep it just in case of emergencies. But she must be delighted, because she's had about 3 years worth of money off me for no treatment. But I'm perfectly happy with that, because it's a reassurance to me that if something does go wrong, then I can actually call on her services. I just haven't needed them since I've been carnivore, and which is lucky, because she's so ill herself metabolically that she cancelled on me 3 times. Just a bit of an ironic story.
And I've had the same story, and I just kind of like, okay, you don't have time for me pretty much. And then you want me to do it on my time, where I've just, found that it didn't have much value. And I think that many of the things, even going to get me, like my eyesight hasn't changed in years. And I use the same prescription that I've used for years now. But in order to get a new pair of glasses, you have to have a new prescription.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? I see fine. Well, you could see better. I don't know. Yeah. I see as good as I want to see, actually.
Yeah, I'm still struggling along on 3 times reading glasses. I'm afraid that I'm going to have to go and get a prescription at some stage, but at the moment I'm coping with the reading glass at 3 times magnification.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to hold out, but I don't know. It might be.
Which I did for the longest time. Yeah. So, but Well, I appreciate.
I'm 60. You know, I'm 60. I feel like I'm 18 again. I'm virtually I'm the same weight as I was when I was 18, but I am 60. You know,
I feel 18 again. That's the beauty of my life, right? Actually, I think 10 is probably the right age because I still want to go running around and take things apart and rebuild them and do hard things.
Yeah, the only clues that I have towards my age is the fact that my knees are damaged through years and years of carrying heavy weights up mountains and being a soldier. And the second thing is the inguinal hernia. Those are the only two clues I've got. Oh, and the bald head as well, of course, that I'm actually aging. Other than that, my energy's back, my physique is back, my sense of humor is back, my sense of fun is back, and I'm a troublemaker, as you said, Dr. Kiltz. So yeah, I'm a rebellious teenager all over again, which is great fun.
Well, I think the intention here is be rebellious, be willing to change and open to change. And you know, if you're in that rut, you gotta like get out of the rut, dig a new ditch, and climb another tree. That's the real core of who and what we are.
When I was 56 and a half and weighed 293 pounds with type 2 diabetes, I lost two very good friends of mine in the couple of months before. One was 59, the other one was 69. They both dropped dead. I thought I was next. I really believed I was, but not anymore, because I've discovered a low carb keto carnivore, and I am now what you see in front of you. I'm prepared for any challenge within reason. I still don't jump out of airplanes, by the way. But yeah, but that's it. You know, it's I've got my feeling of youth back. I'll never get my actual youth back, but I've got my feeling of youth back. So yeah, if we got any, I mean, most of the people I know in are long-term carnivores here, but if we got any newbies who are thinking about it, just take a look at me and Dr. Kiltz. Take a look at Rick. He went when he was 15, I think, 1983. Yeah, I was 17. Yeah, I'm 2 years older than Rick. But just look at us. We're chatting away like a bunch of students in the common room here. You know,
I'm 57 and 195 pounds.
Well, I went to a restaurant here in Sarasota yesterday called Shore. And I had a burger patty and a filet mignon. And the guy said, well, I got to charge you the regular price. I said, that's fine. The black and blue, they were really great. I did add some butter because they just were devoid of fat and salt. And again, and then he was saying, hey, wow, you know, I was thinking about doing that. And I gave him my story, and he was very open. And he's like, well, you know what, I'm going to try that. And I think the more we share this idea, again, even if you're a carnivore mostly, you occasionally have a plant, minimize the frequency or the amount, and maybe make it a fried plantain or a fried potato, no skin, in tallow, lard, or ghee, then you'll be healthier than ever.
Yeah, hey, Dr. Kiltz, talking about salt, Lainey showed a really good sign yesterday that she has become a carnivore through and through because she has become a salt snob. She has noticed that, that she actually, she just bought off the internet some hand harvested Celtic sea salt. And she said yesterday that we had veal, and she covered it and she said, this tastes better than any other salt I've ever tasted. Once your taste buds have switched to actually being able to differentiate between the salts, I reckon that's a sign that you are a true carnivore, because otherwise it's usually it's the sugar that you can taste. But nowadays, we are both attuned to salt, and I totally agree with her. It was better even than the pink Himalayan rock salt I usually use. So yeah,
this is my restaurant.
It's a sure sign that you're a carnivore when you become a salt snob. That's my view of it.
Yeah, well, I'm a salt snob, and making sure. Hey, I say, well, I want to make sure I have the flake, Malden, Baja. Those are my favorites out there, and I sometimes bring my own, but I usually don't carry it around. So. Oh, that's perfect, Rick.
Yep, that's my restaurant.
I love it. That's all you need. I love it. And it's hooked up to your methane maker, right?
Well,
this one's got butane, but
Yeah, when I used to go camping, that's exactly the stove that I used to use as well. They're good little stoves. But yeah, the methane maker, Dr. Kiltz, is Rick's strawberry poop gas. I'm sure you've seen it.
That's right. That's right. Well, listen, I've got to get. Yep. I've got some company coming. Scott Everson's coming over. I'm going to make him a steak. Yeah,
Say hi to him. He don't talk to me anymore. He's too busy.
Yeah, I'll tell him that. I'll tell him.
Remember, he made an interview with me like 3 years ago.
I'll tell him Rick's done with you, Scott. Forget it. Cancel meat stock. Cancel meat stock. Rick's not going. I'm with you. But we're going to see everyone on February 7th here in Tampa. One way or another, we'll get a bus to bring everyone over wherever we're coming from.
What, from the UK, Dr. Kiltz, can you send me a bus for you?
Yes.
On that note, however, I do intend to go to the Rendezvous City, Wyoming one in August. If that happens, if it doesn't, then I do have a plan B, which is Kalamazoo with our friend Robin the following week. And I happen to know Dr. Kiltz because I spoke to Stephanie yesterday. Stephanie is going to Kalamazoo, so I don't think. You met Stephanie, obviously, but for anybody from the USA who hasn't yet met Stephanie, she intends to go to Kalamazoo in September. So anybody going there will get a chance to meet her. And it is my plan B, my backup plan. So I might be there myself. So there we go. That's the news from the UK.
What is the cheapest flight from London? What city in America? Is it New York? Is it Orlando?
I don't know, but Lainey did look up to Detroit so we could get to the zoo, and that was about half the price of what it was for me to fly to Riverton via Denver last year. So Detroit's not expensive from what I can work out. So
Detroit's not far from upstate New York where I'm at.
Yeah,
it's close, and we got to find a single global location, right? Where's our global carnivore location that we make it? I don't know. Maybe we make it every 5 years or something. Everyone's got to come to this one big event, and that's the beauty.
Make it. Well, how about we make it like the Olympics every 4 years, and we move it from the USA to Australia to New Zealand to the UK?
I love it. I love it. That's what we'll talk about, the Carnivore Olympics.
Yeah, and so that's two brilliant ideas. We've got.
Does that include catching iguanas and chicken?
Yep,
that's one of the contests. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Kiltz. So just to finish off, we got two things we're working on: Carnivore the musical.
Yep.
And the Carnivore Olympics. So come on, guys, get your ideas in. Dr. Kiltz likes ideas. He likes people to help. He's not a one-man band. So anybody got any ideas, send them into Dr. Kiltz via Alia, and he'll address them.
And I really apologize if I didn't get all of the questions today, but we had rock star guests on today, Rick and George, and you guys have a blessed, awesome, amazing Sunday. And I'm going to get on with cleaning up a little bit and doing some more fun on AI and my video AI production. Love you.
Thanks for having us on. Bye, Dr. Kiltz. Bye, everybody.
All right.